Welcome to the Code with Jason meetup. Today's another SaturnCI day. I'll share my screen and get us going. Um, so I've been running into some annoying bugs lately. So Sanjit, as you're aware, I've been working on getting the log streaming working, and that is going fine. The logs show up at the bottom, and there's still the shortcoming where you have to continually scroll down to see the new logs. But that's not a bug, that's just the part that's not finished yet. Um, but there's two bugs that I noticed. One is if you're on a page that's if you're on the page for a job that's currently running, you'll see the log stream. But then if you go to a different job that's already finished, you'll still see the log stream. So I think you were there, Sanjit, maybe when I dealt with the bug where if you're on the system logs page and you went to test output, for example, you'd still see the system logs output.
Yep.
Yeah, so we fixed that, but there's still kind of a similar bug to where it's not smart enough to realize that you're on a different job. It's smart enough to realize that you're on a different tab, but not a different job. So that's one thing we'll have to fix. And then yesterday, for the first time in a long time, I added some new gems to the project. I added the solar graph gem. And you can see here that it's getting an error. It could not find solar graph, blah, blah, blah. And I'm guessing that the reason for that is because it's using the cached gems and it didn't realize that it needed to bust the cache and rebuild.
I'm not familiar with solar graph, just trying to understand, why you added the gem.
Yeah, so Solar Graph is an LSP, language server protocol. Let's just go to
Uh-huh.
the Solar Graph gem. Yeah, here we go. Um, so what Solar Graph does, in my understanding, is it kind of parses your code base and interprets it, and it figures out relationships and stuff like that so that you can
Sort of auto documentation, is it? Or
well, here's something you can do. Um, okay, here's maybe a decent demonstration. So let's see, status. We have a build status. I can see where this is referenced by typing gr. Okay, apparently status is only referenced in a couple places in the same file. That's not that interesting. How about duration formatted? Let's see where that's referenced. Oh yeah, same one. Um, let's see if we can find something more interesting. Okay. So what happens if I go to build project? No, I'll go to build list, this build list class, and I'll run a certain key command, and it should show me where this build list class is defined. There, so now we go to the definition for this class. And then if I want to see where this is referenced, yeah, I can see that it's referenced in jobs controller. And I can go back to that if I want to. And then I can do certain autocomplete things like, let's see, project dot. Oh, it doesn't give me anything. I found that it's very imperfect. It's a little bit frustrating, honestly, because this was a lot of work to set up. But let's see what else I can do. Oh, I know. Let's just say foo equals bar foo dot. Okay. So now because foo is a string object, it'll show me all these methods that I can invoke on a string. So it works great for like native Ruby objects.
so your aim was to help you support, in the coding side of things, or
Sorry, say it again.
the reason for adding the solar graph. gem was to help you with the coding aspect?
Yeah, my main motivation was I was working on a legacy project for a client, and I came across a case where I wanted to see all the places where a method was used in the code base,
Ah, okay, got it.
but searching didn't really do it for me. So I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to see if this this LSP solar graph would help me get what I wanted. Turns out it didn't help me, unfortunately, but I still went through all the work of setting it up. And I had some trouble on the legacy project, so I'm like, okay, Saturn's a fairly fresh and small and straightforward project, so let me try to get it set up on there first. And so that's the only reason that I really set it up on this. Um, but then as we saw, adding the solar graph gem caused problems here. So for the benefit of anybody who's not familiar with this part of SaturnCI, um, the gems normally don't change from build to build, and so I don't want to rebuild. I don't want to do a bundle install on every single job because that would be wasteful. So I only want to do it when they change. But even though it works fine when nothing changes, apparently when something does change, there's a failure. So I'm going to go to the script, excuse me, that controls all this. Okay, so we can see this line here. There's this comment that says, attempting to pull the existing image to avoid rebuilding if possible. By the way, this shouldn't say attempting, this should just say pulling the existing image to avoid rebuilding if possible. Okay, but then how does it decide whether to use the cached image or a fresh one? So let's see if we can find that. Okay, here's where it runs the tests. Start test suite. Okay. Okay, so it runs this Docker compose command. And I think, hmm. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna go to that other place where it pulls. Okay, Saturn test app. Okay, so the name of the image is Saturn test app. Yeah, so when I run this start test suite function, it does a Docker compose command that runs this Saturn test app image. And I'm kind of letting Docker's built-in caching functionality um, just do its thing the way that it normally does, but it's apparently not behaving the way that I expect. So either there must be something I don't understand or there's something I'm doing wrong. So let's try to find out what the deal is here. So I'm just going to take this whole script and I'll paste it into ChatGPT and I'll say, what do I want to say? So the problem is the cache isn't busting when it should, just out of laziness, or you might say economy of effort. I'm going to just say that much so far. And for all I know, it's smart enough to infer what I'm talking about. And if not, I'll give it some additional guidance. Okay, to address the issue, ensure, okay, tag Docker images with a unique identifier. Yeah, maybe I do have to tag it with like a checksum of the
Docker image.
gems.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna wait for it to finish and then I'm gonna ask if I should do something like that. Would it make sense for me to tag each image with a checksum of the gems? Okay. And it's given me like the whole thing, which is going to make it a bit difficult to see what exactly is different. But I think I can just paste the whole thing in and then get a diff. Okay. Okay. So here's this gem checksum thing. Okay. Okay, so we're tagging this image with the checksum. Okay. Well, let's see what happens. I'm gonna make a new branch called what? I'm fixing this gem caching bug. Add gemfile.lock checksum to images. Okay, so we got a new one going here, and I'm curious how this is going to behave when it pulls the image. So, okay, so this job that's running right now, it's going to first get a checksum of my gemfile.lock. And just for fun, let's see what that looks like. SHA-256 sum gemfile.lock. Okay. Hmm. Oh, and then it's piping it through AWK print $1. Yeah, okay. So that's my checksum. So it's gonna assign gems checksum to that value. And by the way, I don't really like the name gems checksum. Why not call it gem file lock checksum? I think that's a little closer to the truth. Anyway, it's going to get that checksum, and then it's going to say, hey, pull this image. But no such image exists, of course, because we've never added a gem file lock checksum to the image before. So that's going to be a cache miss. And since it's a cache miss, it should perform a build.
Okay, okay. So
And
basically, you are trying to check whether the version is the same as what you are expecting, and if not, then do a build. Is that what you're trying to accomplish?
yes, although I would use slightly different language rather than saying what I'm expecting, because I
Uh-huh.
don't have any particular expectations.
Uh-huh.
The question is just for this specific gem file lock, do we already have something cached that matches up with
Ah,
this gemfile.lock?
okay, okay.
If so, pull that image. If not, then we need to do a build.
Understood.
Okay. So, oh, and here, Sanjit, we see this bug. This this, oh, okay, we only saw it very temporarily, but the output for this one was showing up in this other build, but we'll deal with that later.
Okay.
Okay, so I see some output here. Package.json file does not exist. Okay, so what is happening here? This looks like output from the Docker build. Okay, it's complaining about no package.json. Is that a truthful complaint? Oh, I think it is. Okay, not Docker file.production. Okay, so for some reason, my Docker file assumes the existence of a package.json, but there is not one. And when and why did I add this? Let's take a look. That's no good. Okay. Did that actually copy that? No, it didn't. Okay. Git show. We'll do it manually. C6 E94. Oh, what was this commit? Squash commit of blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I had this yarn stuff before that didn't refer to package.json. And then I added package.json. Maybe that was just copy pasta from ChatGPT. Okay. And do I even, yeah, I definitely need to do a yarn install. Yarn.lock. Do I have a yarn.lock? I seem not to. Okay. What happens if I run yarn locally? It
You
says no
create
lock
one,
file
isn't it?
found.
Want to create one. Yeah.
Okay, so now I have one, but do I even need one? Because maybe I don't. Okay, so just as an experiment, let's go to here and just get rid of this yarn stuff. Okay, I'm going to say remove yarn from Docker file. Okay. And this just kind of annoys me that these got stuck and running, so I'm just going to delete these. Okay, so that'll take a minute or two for DigitalOcean to spin up this machine. In the meantime, let's go back to our script. And let's look at our Docker file again. Okay, so now this is a pretty simple Docker file. It just grabs the code and does a bundle install. I'll be honest, I don't understand the new Rails no build stuff. Have you heard about this, Sanjeet?
Yes, yes. But just like you, I am more comfortable with the old way of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't really know what I'm doing with this stuff. I don't know if I'm like, as of Rails 7.1, which I'm on, I believe. Yeah, 7.1. Am I like eligible for no build at this point because I'm on 7.1? I really am not sure. Okay, so the machine's ready. The prescript is started. We see some log output here. Okay. Apparently I had to refresh the page in order for the streaming to start working, so maybe we'll have to address that at some point. Okay, it hasn't started the tests yet. I'm going to check the events again. Okay, it's running the pre-script. I know that takes a bit of time. That like creates the databases and stuff. Okay, now I can see it's doing a bundle install. So that's good because under this scenario, that's what we would expect. Because again, it's a cache miss. We've never pushed an image with the checksum for our gemfile.lock before. Okay, are the tests running at this point? Apparently not yet. What is it doing right now? Okay, Rails seems to be starting, so are the tests running now? It looks like they are. Okay, so now we should be able to watch these run. So we can at least say at this point that we haven't gotten an error. Oh, and it looks like this log streaming is not working perfectly. Okay, so it looks like this job is done. This job doesn't have any output yet. I don't know if that's because nothing has run or because there's a bug. Okay, and I can see based on the log output that it has pushed this new Docker image. So that must mean the test run has finished. But the job still says running. Now we see some output here. Oh, I was looking at the logs for job one. What about the logs for job two? Yeah, this appears to still be going. So for whatever reason, job two is behind job one. Okay, yeah, we can see test suite started, but not finished yet. And we do have a test failure because, as we saw last time, we have a flaky test. So we'll have to address that too. We have a whole list of issues to deal with. Okay, so that failed, but that's not what we're concerned with right now. We're concerned with this caching, and it behaved correctly under that scenario. But let's see what happens when it runs again. What should happen is it'll be a cache hit, and it will not perform a bundle install. So the question is, how can we tell? One thing should be, this took almost 5 minutes. It should take significantly less time, but that's kind of an imperfect indicator. If we look here in the system logs, run bundle install. Okay, so in the one that did run it, we can find this line that says run bundle install, then scroll down a bit, and it's quite clear that bundle install did run. So we can look for that in this test run. And if that's not there, then we can be pretty sure that bundle install did not run. So we will wait for that. And we could get started with something else in the meantime, but I don't want to risk confusing myself. So I'm going to not do anything else in the meantime. Okay, the prescript started. So now we can watch some log output. And again, there seems to be yet another bug here where this system log output doesn't stream until you refresh the page. So we'll have to address that. Okay, but it is streaming now. Okay, it says run bundle install. Are we going to see? Hmm. Okay. Well, that's not what we want to see, obviously. Okay. So now the question is, why is it doing a bundle install? Well, first we can add a diagnostic to our script. Oops. Okay. So we can do this. Okay, so that will allow us to see what our gemfile.lock checksum is. Add output for gemfile.lock check. Still getting accustomed to the Dvorak keyboard layout. Okay, add output for gemfile.lock checksum. Okay. But as we saw before, we can get it locally like this. So I'm going to look for a checksum like this on DigitalOcean. Okay, container. Oh, yeah. I don't think I'll be able to see it on DigitalOcean because it's only in the Docker registry cache. Okay, so what about this? Okay, yeah. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. Gonna get the checksum, and then instead of pulling latest, I'll pull this tag, and we'll see what we get. Not found. Okay. I'm curious, it may be that this is too long. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT, is there a limit on tag length? 128 characters. Okay. Oh, mine's only 64 characters. Okay. Okay, well, this seems dumb. I'm not going to add that. Okay, so let's look at a log where it does that push and see if it has anything interesting there. Hmm. It says tag does not exist. No such image, Saturn test app latest. Okay, that's interesting. Where are we still referring to latest? I'm surprised that it says latest. Oh, okay. Well, that's just an error there. Okay, let's see what happens with that. Okay, so we should see a new, yep. All right, so I'm going to delete this job because we can be fairly sure that that's not going to work because we still had that error at that point. Okay, so there's a chance this might work. Um, Let me think actually. So as of this moment, there's no Docker image in my registry with a tag that matches my gemfile.lock because I believe there to be a bug in the part of that script that does a push. So on this run, I should expect that the bundle install still occurs. It's only on the run after this that we can expect it to
To fail.
uh, to have a cache hit.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, so we're in for a bit of a wait here, like a good 7 to 8 or 9 minutes. So maybe let's take a second here to explain the Docker registry cache. Um, Sanjit, I don't remember your familiarity with the Docker registry cache. Do you happen to remember anything
Uh,
about this?
I have to say my familiarity is very close to zero.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's actually good because then we I can explain it for everybody. So let me ask this. What is your general understanding of my like gem caching strategy for the product? It's okay if that's close to zero also.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I can't, find the words to explain it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll explain that. Um some of this, like I said before a little bit, um we don't want to do a bundle install on every single build because that would be wasteful if the
Yeah.
gems don't change.
Hmm.
And so we have to have some way to know whether we need to build or not. And we have to have some way to tuck away the the built gems because like we can't just skip the bundle install. We have to have the result. It's just a question of do we get the resulting gems. Um, I realize as I'm speaking that I don't have a super firm I don't have a super firm on a super firm handle on what happens when you do a bundle install. I guess it's just downloading gems. So the question is, do we get our hands on the gems by doing a bundle install, or do we get our hands on the gems by simply downloading our cached gems? So that's the overall idea. And so the question then is like, okay, we know that we want to cache the gems somewhere, but how do we accomplish that? Well, the specific way that I ended up doing that is I found out that there's this special idea called a Docker registry cache. That's not an
Okay.
idea that I came up with. That's
Hmm.
some pre-existing Docker thing that people are already doing apparently. And so the idea there is that you can tuck away entire Docker images, and Docker is smart enough to see what can be cached in that image and what is stale, at least to an extent.
Okay.
So, for example, if you have files that have changed, then it knows that the cache is stale and it needs to do that part again. But if everything is totally identical, then it knows it can just use the cache. And again, that stuff is default Docker behavior, so I don't have to worry about that. So I thought that was a pretty good way to go because I could just take advantage of Docker's existing caching abilities rather than having to build
Do it
something myself
yourself.
to deal with that
Yeah.
and increase the complexity of the system. Um, Gonna go to my Docker file. I'm realizing late in the game that my font was kind of small. Um, hmm, I don't know if this really is going to reveal anything useful. So let's forget about that. Anyway, these Docker images that get used for caching have to go somewhere. So this Docker registry cache is where they get stashed. And in my script, you can see that I'm doing Docker push registry cache.saturnci.com. That domain is pointed at this machine.
Okay. Now, this is not something that is specific to your application. This is, oh, or is it? Is it, this Docker registry cache that we are seeing right now, is that specific to your login on DigitalOcean and your application?
The concept is not specific to my application, but
Okay,
the
okay.
specific
Mhm.
server is.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I guess it could be analogous to building a Rails application. Rails is a general idea, obviously, but then you have your own Rails app hosted somewhere. This is my
Yeah,
own registry cache that I'm hosting myself.
okay.
Um, and there's nothing fancy to it. I think it's running a certain Docker registry process that just like comes out of the box with Docker. And then I'm placing files on the server. That's all. So there's very little happening there. Okay. So this job has been running. And in fact, it may be finished. No, I don't think it is. Okay, this test run is finished. This test run is not. Okay. And I don't even have log output for job two. I wonder if something went wrong with this one, because this one seems never to have even started. I'm going to rerun this. But now let's do a little test here. If I do a poll for this same checksum that I did before, okay, it is not there. I guess I shouldn't be surprised by that because this job has not completely finished yet. Well, I mean, this job seems to potentially have finished. It's just that the whole build hasn't finished. Hmm. Well, it says Docker push finished. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Okay. Error, no such image, blah blah blah. Hmm. No such image. I think that means locally. Okay. So if that's what that means, why would there locally be no such image?
Does this go back to what you said? There is some problem between your end and the push.
Yeah, it seems like perhaps the problem now is that it's not creating this local image. Um, Let me do something. Docker image ls grep Saturn. Okay. So on my local machine, I have these couple of Saturn images with a tag of latest. But here we don't. Okay, so I don't understand what the deal might be. So I'll ask ChatGPT. I have some kind of guesses, but I think it'll be more efficient to have ChatGPT help me. Um, Let me find where this is. I'm going to delete this so that its logs don't interfere with what I'm trying to look at. Okay, no such image. I'm going to copy paste starting here. Yeah. All right, so this is the part that I'm telling ChatGPT about, that we're trying this push and it's saying no such image. Now I want to give it my current script contents saying, does this mean there's no such local image? If so, why not? I wish it wouldn't give me the entire script, partly so I don't have to wait, partly so it's easier to see what's different. Hey, I don't see anything different right there. Okay, now I can copy paste this. I'm going to clear out the current file, paste this in, see what's different. Okay, huh, that doesn't seem right. Hmm, because that's like what we had before. And it wasn't working.
I know it's one of those things that sometimes you do something and accidentally things start working, and
Yeah. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna say, okay, SHA, blah, blah, blah. Gem file lock checksum equals that. Okay. I'm gonna try just doing this. Oh, password for what? Oh, sudo. Okay. No such image. Yeah, which is interesting because locally, what do I have locally? What am I looking at? So I suppose this whole thing is the name of the image. So there's nothing that's just Saturn Test App latest. Okay. Hmm. Okay, let me review what I'm even trying to do here. All right. I'm gonna blow it this way because I don't think we're barking up the right tree with that. Docker. Okay. So ChatGPT was having us do a separate build step, which is wasteful because we're already doing a build step here. So I think ChatGPT like doesn't understand. So I'm gonna help it understand. Doing an extra build step is wasteful. We're already doing a build here. I think we should be doing a build that matches the gem file lock checksum. I want to be done with the latest tag idea. It's too ambiguous. From now on, every image should have a checksum tag. Let's see what it does with that. I'm gonna do something. Um, give me only the parts of the script that have changed. Always do that from now on. Okay. This it says it's changed, but this looks exactly the same. Same, same. Um, oh, that is interesting. So this is different. Hmm. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna ask this. I fear that this is making it more complicated than it needs to be. Um, each each build happens on a fresh machine, and so there will never be a naming conflict. If you've added that just to avoid a naming conflict for images called Saturn Test App, then that's not necessary. Container ID, I don't know what that's all about. And then it's doing a push. Hmm. Um, sorry, my son is at the door.
Go on. First things first.
Yeah, 1 second. Okay. All right, he was just checking to see if I was done with this yet. Shortly. Okay. Explain this. Okay, but what I don't understand is why suddenly do we need the container ID involved? Okay. Okay. So we have this tag and push. Let's see if that's actually any different. Looks like it is. Okay, it took away the gem file lock checksum, and I think that's it. But I think we've tried this before and it failed, but I don't remember exactly how it failed. So let's push that again. Get rid of gem file lock checksum for local image name. Okay, and then I expect we'll get some kind of error on that one, but I don't know what. Um, okay, and I'm gonna delete this one. Okay, I'm just gonna check the system logs for this to see. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. All right, so we'll wait for this to do its thing. In the meantime, maybe we can get a firmer grasp on some of these things. So why are we doing the tag exactly how we are, and why are we doing the push? It looks like the tag command says take this image called Saturn test app and give it a tag of Saturn. We'll give it a tag of gemfile lock checksum, and then do a Docker push to the following location. Let's explain these a little better, or understand these a little better. Explain these two commands in detail. Okay, source image, target image. This is the name of the tag and the target image. Specifies the Docker registry address. Okay. Repository name in the registry. Tag for the image. Okay. Okay. You know, maybe I want to add a little bit more diagnostic info. Um, Docker image ls grep Saturn. Okay. So can I do this? Can I say equals images equals that, and then echo images? Okay. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do echo Docker image ls. And do I have to prefix every Docker command with sudo? Looks like I do. Okay. So that'll give me a little more visibility into what we have. Yes. Okay. An ongoing principle in working on this product is want to make investments that will make it easier for me to troubleshoot issues. Okay, so this one's still going, and we'll see at the end. what's going to happen with the push. All right, so it looks like maybe it's running the tests now. It is. Okay, the tests are finished. Okay. And we get this no such image Saturn test app latest error. Even though I don't believe we were saying anything about an image with a tag of latest. That must be some kind of default. Okay. So while we're waiting for this one, I'm going to do this. Push refers to repository, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and let's tag does not exist, blah, blah, blah. Interesting. All right. Well, first I'm interested in this no such image thing. Um, it says no such image Saturn test app latest, even though I'm never referring to any such tag. Let's see what it says about that. Implies that the script might not have actually built or tagged the image as expected. I suppose that is a possibility, and that's what this diagnostic output will help with. But what else does it say? Ensure that the image is properly named, blah, blah, blah. Hmm. I don't feel like this is helpful. All right, we'll just wait for this to finish. Okay, these tests are running. Okay, the tests for job one have finished. Okay, no such image again, not surprising. But where is our output that shows us our images? Whoops. Oh, it's showing it all on one line. Okay. Um, well, that's interesting because it says no such image, Saturn test app latest, but there is this. So, like, is this the full name? Let's um let's see what the deal is. Okay, so I'm actually gonna grab this yet again. I'm gonna say current script. Whoops, I did not mean to click over there. Okay, and we'll grab this excerpt from the log output. Explain. Yeah, ChatGPT is being dumb right now. Okay, let's spoon feed it the question a little better. Okay, so these are a lot of images. Okay. Above is the output of Docker image ls. You can see that there's an image with a tag of latest. Okay. But this command, um, must be this command, I suppose. Performing Docker tag and push, no such image. Okay. This command gives the output of um, why might this be is the local image name not really Saturn test app? Is the name this? Okay. So I tried to give it as little room as possible to misinterpret my question there. I will wrap up in just a minute here. Okay, why is it being so stupid? This is like not helpful. All right, so we'll have to take matters into our own hands to an extent. I want to look at the Docker compose build command, your Docker compose run. Okay, so we're running. Oh, okay. Let me think. We're doing the pull and it's not finding it. Okay. So then when we start the test suite, we do this run. Ah, it is referring to latest here. Okay. That is part of the issue, surely. Okay. Yeah. This must be part of the issue. Can I somehow um I don't know. I don't know what to do about that, so I'm just gonna paste that for now. Okay. Okay, so it refers to latest here. And that, hmm. No, I think that's no good. Okay, so this Docker Compose file says when you build Saturn test app, use this latest tag. But
Would you rather
that's,
have the option to specify an image?
sorry?
Would you rather have the option to specify a particular image to be used? Or would you just go for the latest?
Right, I want to specify one that matches the gem file.lock
Yeah, so
checksum.
we have to put some sort of variable there in that case, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, let's ask this. Can I just replace latest in the Docker compose file with gem file lock checksum? Okay, and I don't know if I have to do anything special because I'm using this environment variable here.
Yeah, I think there will be some sort of environment variable that has to go in there, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to copy this. Okay, apparently we can just use it like that. Okay, and then what do I have in my job? Okay, it's just Saturn test app. Um, but I think this is not the right name. I think it is this entire thing. Yes. Okay. And you know what? Eventually, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. Does this seem like the right command? And actually, I'm going to say based on the above Docker compose output, and here it's not going to say latest, it's going to say imagine a check sum here. Okay, let's see what it says about that. Okay, isn't that exactly what I have?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to push this unhard code image tag in Docker compose. No, I'm going to say Docker compose dot yml. Okay. Okay. And what I was going to say before, but I stopped myself, is I think it's probably not a good idea for me to have this whole thing repeated in so many places.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
I feel like I should define a variable called like remote image URL or something like that.
Yeah,
So while we're waiting for this, why don't we do that? And then we might have success, we might have failure, but either way, I think I need to sign off very
yeah,
shortly. Okay, so what am I looking for? Gem file. Yeah, okay. So I guess right after this, I can say remote image URL. No, let's say registry cache image URL. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. And then here, instead of this, I can say registry cache image URL. Okay, and then I'll search for any instance of this. Okay, now there is this issue where we have this. Okay, maybe I'll handle that in the following manner. I'll say registry cache URL equals registrycache.saturnci.com 5000. And then this can be registry cache URL / that. Okay. And then down here, do that. And then in the Docker compose, I can just say registry cache image URL there. And now when we change this, it'll automatically change in the Docker
There we go.
compose file.
Yep.
Wonderful. Oh, and we have another instance of it right here. Yeah, okay, so let's do this. Let's actually switch the order of these. There. Okay, but I certainly don't want to commit that until after. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually not surprised by that. So the gem file lock checksum variable has to get set early. So let's do that. Let's actually do that at the very beginning. Yeah, I think that's all fine to do there. Move variable assignment. Okay. And whatever happens with this next build, signing off after that. Okay, and I think I maybe had a stray image or two here. So let me address that. So let's see, 43 minutes ago, that one is surely dead. 1 hour ago, I'll delete that one also. By the way, I'm taking an approach with this project of fixing basically all the defects before moving on. Like a lot of places, they'll let bugs accumulate but still build new things. But I think that's a big mistake because they think they're moving fast by doing that, but I think that actually makes you move more slowly. So I want to always be building from a solid foundation that is relatively problem-free and easy to understand. Okay, registry cache image URL is not set. So that's coming from this Docker compose. So somehow, I think the task before us for the next session is that somehow we have to set this variable before this file gets read, or make it so that that's not necessary somehow. All right, but as I said, I'm gonna stop the session now, even though I really want to keep going. Okay, we'll pick up next time. Thanks as always, Sanjeev, for joining me, and I'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye bye.